Donald Trump cannot catch a break because of himself. He keeps shooting himself in the foot, stepping on rakes, etc., other things. And I can only imagine is giving his campaign staff the headaches of all headaches. What am I talking about? Well, we'll review clips from two different events in the last 24 hours. And I was talking with producer Jaden this morning about how the goal of the Trump campaign as of late, according to reporting, Trump melting down in private, and that means his staff is trying to figure out how can we stop the surge of Harris. And so what they're doing is trying to put Trump in situations where he can deliver more compelling, more widely compelling messages. Try to add parameters so that he doesn't go off script and attack Kamala Harris's race, for example, that is causing a lot of trouble for his campaign. Try to make the contrast not crazy person versus super disciplined campaign that is very unifying, which is what we're seeing on the Harris side. And so he's had a couple of events where he's trying to talk about the economy, and then he goes to an event to talk about anti-Semitism, and still finds a way to devastate his own campaign over and over again. And the clip that I'm going to play for you here, before looking at others, apparently this is sparking a level of outrage among people who normally might even be open to Trump that you rarely see. So first, here's reporting, then I'll show you the clip. Former President Donald Trump lauded a wealthy donor on whom he bestowed the Presidential Medal of Freedom as having gotten the better award compared to the top military honor, the Medal of Honor, because those recipients are often deceased or injured. And of course, you're thinking, especially if you're MAGA, wow, fake news is probably manipulating this, lying to us about this. Well, you listen for yourself.
I have to say, Miriam, I watched Sheldon sitting so proud in the White House when we gave Miriam the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's the highest award you can get as a civilian. It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor, but civilian version. It's actually much better because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's soldiers. They're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets, or they're dead. She gets it, and she's a healthy, beautiful woman. It's very... And they're rated equal.
So you can notice that about 5 people are clapping because I think even most of the audience is shocked by what he's saying. Wait. And the thing that's important to remember too is, okay, if this is a one-off, maybe you let it slide. This is not a one-off. We now have seen this pattern of Trump not being able to conceptualize why someone would dedicate their life to service. Reportedly, as confirmed by a former general's former chief of staff to him's recount of the situation, he referred to fallen soldiers as suckers and losers because he couldn't understand why would you get suckered into dedicating your life, is his thinking, to something other than yourself. And then MAGA really doesn't believe that because they don't believe any reporting, even if it comes from someone who honorably served and then served alongside Trump loyally for a period of time, his longest serving chief of staff, John Kelly. But they don't believe any of that. All fake news. Well, what about him on camera saying John McCain was captured? He's not a hero because I like people who weren't captured. Because we've watched that and heard that a gazillion times from him on camera. Can't be fake news there. This is a pattern, which was what makes it so extra outrageous. A CBS reporter said, I've received a flood of angry text messages from veterans whose political ideologies differ regarding former President Trump's comments. I'll be working late this evening, just so we know we did our due diligence. Listen one more time and then we'll go on to other clips.
I have to say, Miriam, I watched Sheldon sitting so proud in the White House when we gave Miriam the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's the highest award you can get as a civilian. It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor, but civilian version. It's actually much better because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's soldiers. They're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets, or they're dead. She gets it, and she's a healthy, beautiful woman. It's very...
Yeah. Just gross despicable, and perfectly in line with his character, right? The reason why his campaign is so desperate to keep him on script is because when he goes off of it, it's not that he makes mistakes in the sense that we normally think of them. Oh, that was representative of what I feel. It's that he lets the mask slip a little bit. He actually has moments of transparency. And when we get insight into that, it becomes more and more clear why he's someone who should not be president. Now, I should remind you that Nikki Haley is now supporting Trump's campaign. And just remember what Nikki Haley said about Trump after Trump made fun of Nikki Haley's husband, who's in the military.
It's disgusting. I mean, every bit of it's disgusting. You know, to sit there and mock my husband for not being with me on the presidential trail because he is deployed and serving our country. You mock one veteran, you're mocking all veterans. But this is a pattern, Dana. He's done this over and over again. Whether he went and calls military members suckers, whether he was at Arlington Cemetery saying what was in it for them, why would they do this? The problem with Trump is he's never been anywhere near a uniform. He apparently had some sort of foot reason that he says he couldn't do that. But the reality is the closest he's come to harm's way is a golf ball hitting him on a golf cart. These men and women sacrifice for us every day. They're willing to shed blood. That's the values that made this country great. And anybody that excuses what he continues to say against the military is hugely mistaken, because this is going to be the president of the United States. We have to start doing more to help our veterans. They don't get the due they deserve. They don't get taken care of. We've got to start watching out for them. You can't do that if you've got a commander-in-chief that disrespects them. Those are fighting words for the military. In South Carolina, we love our military. We fight hard for them. We want to make their lives better. We don't mock them. And what he did is just disgusting. And anybody that agrees with it or says it's okay is disgusting along with them.
And I guess, in a sense, she is calling herself disgusting there. Because remember, it was disgusting. Trump mocked the fact that he wasn't on the campaign trail with her. Where's her husband, by the way? You never see him. Where's her? Where's him? That was the clip that she was responding to. Which is an interesting thing, by the way, to say, other than it being gross and low character, because the person to which he was referring is serving the country. It's also interesting because you never see Melania on the campaign trail, and she's not serving. So that's a bigger question mark as to why she's never on the campaign trail. But now Nikki Haley is supportive, it seems, of that. Here you have, from his Bedminster, New Jersey press conference, him getting asked about his inability to stay disciplined, and he shows he can't stay disciplined.
Many of your allies who want you to win in November say your current strategy isn't working, that you need to stop with the personal attacks on Kamala Harris and deliver a more disciplined message. Do you agree? And also, you added more people to your campaign today. Yeah. Is that a sign of a shifting strategy?
No, I think it's a sign of we want to close it out. We have great people. Susie is fantastic, as you know, and Chris is fantastic. They're leading it. Corey Lewandowski's coming in. He'll be, personal envoy, or he'll be at some level. They're going to be, they're doing a great job. Look, we've taken, with all of the abuse we've taken from the fake news media, all of this horrific abuse we take, and all I want to do is make the country great. All I want to do is have strong borders and good education. We want to have choice for education. So important. So many different things. You would think it would be the other way. We rebuilt the military. We did so many great things. But that's the way it's been for Republicans, and I guess more so for me than anybody in history, and that's okay, because we're leading in the polls. For the most part, we're leading in the polls. We were leading Biden by a lot. We're leading now, but I think when she's exposed, I think we're going to beat her by a lot more than we would have beaten Biden by, because he had a little group of people that have been voting for him for a long time. She doesn't have that. People don't know who she is. As far as the personal attacks, her, because of what she's done to the country. I'm very angry at her that she'd weaponized the justice system against me and other people. Very angry at her. I think I'm entitled to personal attacks. I don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't have a lot of respect for her intelligence, and I think she'll be a terrible president. And I think it's very important that we win. And whether the personal attacks are good, bad, I mean, she certainly attacks me personally. She actually called me weird. He's weird. It was just a soundbite.
Yeah, and then he went on for a while to rant about not agreeing with the characterization that he's weird. Did he say anything true there? Except for maybe that he's angry at Kamala Harris. That seems true. Just as an example, because there was so much, you didn't rebuild the military. It's not true. I saw someone mapping out even just the funding of the military, and you can see that long before Trump, we were dominating on that front globally. So he pulls that out of his rear end. And he hasn't been targeted unjustly by our justice system. And in many ways, getting preferential treatment. The judge he appointed dismissing one of his cases. What? That's not a conflict of interest, but other things are in his mind. And he's not leading in the polls. He keeps bringing that up. And it is honestly something I want him to keep believing. I want him to keep believing that because of some Rasmussen poll or some right-wing poll that he's crushing it, so that he'll continue doing what he's doing, because that will not lead to victory. In my mind, that's my expectation. Hopefully, I'm correct. Every day, we do a whole show that you can get access to if you're a member by clicking the join button below. And then if you're thinking, I don't want to go that far, but you want to support the work in a free way, you can do that by clicking the subscribe button. Thank you so much. Back to the video. Then you have this.
Virtually 100% of the net job creation in the last year has gone to migrants. You know that? Most of the job creation has gone to migrants. In fact, I've heard that substantially more than beyond the number of 100%. It's a much higher number than that, but the government hasn't caught up with that yet. But
so, oh my gosh, I know, I do really. I've never been someone who loves math, so I have sympathy on people when they struggle with math. But can someone explain to me how more than 100% of job creation could have been going to undocumented immigrants? So you take all the jobs that have been created, that's all undocumented immigrants. But then somehow even more than that, more than 100% of all the job creation. That's a crazy concept. And then you have this.
And we're dying for energy. We don't have energy, and they're getting.
Yeah, he is right that we don't have energy, except for the record energy we're producing. But aside from the record energy, more than any time under the Trump administration, more than any time in the history of the world, more oil production than any country that has ever existed in the history of humanity. Aside from that, we don't have any energy. So that's interesting. And he said this got a lot of play.
And you're not going to be allowed. You're all going to be thrown into a communist system. It's a communist system. You're going to be thrown into a system where everybody gets health care. It's
Yeah, listen, I don't actually think, my prediction would be, I don't think Harris will be able to successfully get everyone in the United States health care. But I don't know if it's the threat you think that it is, Trump, to say what you define as communism is people having access to healthcare. I don't know if people are going to hate that. You might be campaigning for Harris by saying that.
Creating great energy plants, great sources of energy, instead of playing this game with wind that is ruining everything, killing all your birds, destroying the fields, all these gorgeous fields. You got windmills all over the place, and you have birds. You want to see a bird cemetery? Just go under a windmill. You see thousands of birds dead. The bald eagle, if you kill an eagle, they put you in jail for years. And yet these windmills knock them out like nothing. And nothing happens to the people. No, it's a green scam.
He does know that for living creatures of all types, there are few things as destructive as fossil fuels. So it's a weird thing to try to advocate for the birds, even though I've been near windmills many times, and there's not thousands of birds all over the ground. But still, a strange argument to make. And I say again, this is the contrast that we want. We want Harris with the rallies that have just been so on point that Fox News has really struggled to figure out how to attack her over it. And so then they're going after Tim Walz for being too excited at rallies, okay, and stuff to that effect, or laughing or smiling or hugging. And if the disciplined, strong message is on one side of the split screen and Trump ranting about birds being hit by windmills on the other side, probably in a good place. Let me know what you thought of that in the comments. You can get extra content daily. You can do so by clicking the join button below, and that supports the work that we do.